Hey guys, welcome back to Teal House Farm, and it's Tuesday, so you know it's time for another meal from the canning pantry. And today we're going to be doing a baked Italian chicken pasta dish. And the reason we're doing this is because Sam was supposed to work at the hospital until 7 tonight, which means he doesn't get home until 8:30. So usually I feed the kids and then I might eat something when he gets home, or sometimes he'll like pick up dinner on the way for just himself and I'll eat at home. But he got done early today because it was really slow, so his preceptor, whatever they call the person that you work under when you're doing your practicum, is done early, so he leaves too, and so now I need to cook dinner for the whole family instead of just the kids. And so thank goodness for having a full canning pantry, and I can pull something together really fast. So this recipe, we're going to use some of our canned vegetables, we're going to use some canned chicken, some spaghetti sauce. It's going to be really simple, but it's going to make a whole lot of food really quick. And we're going to serve it with a green salad because I always have lettuce greens in the fridge, and we're going to serve it with some bread because I always buy bread like at Walmart. Their bakery bread, they mark it down like 50% the day, like it's used by date, and I'll buy it that day and then I freeze it. And so we'll be able to pull this together real fast. Okay, here's what we'll need. Again, we are a family of 8, and sometimes when I look at these on the pictures, I'm like, there's no way that makes enough food for a family of 8, but you will be surprised how far your jars can go. So first, we're gonna use some canned chicken. You could use your home canned chicken. I don't have any home canned chicken today, so we're just using that from the store. We need a spaghetti sauce, and we are out of our homemade spaghetti sauce from last gardening season. So again, just whatever store-bought sauce you want is fine. We have some tomatoes. I don't home can tomatoes, and I've talked about that in other videos. I don't think it's worth the time and the effort. I would much rather make my tomatoes into different sauces than spend the time to can them in chunks. Totally up to you. We have some onions. This is a half pint of onions. And we're gonna sneak our zucchini in there. So this is a quart of zucchini. We're gonna drain these and chop them up. You're gonna need some sort of pasta. I would think a penne or elbows would be better for this dish, but I don't have any. Again, I wasn't planning on cooking for everybody tonight, so this is a kind of a Hail Mary. This will work just fine. The only problem with linguine is when you bake it and then you have to cut it up. Then you have to cut it up again for the little kids because it can be a choking hazard. So just a little more work on the back end. And then you will need some Italian seasoning. And I'm also gonna throw some cheese in here, and I don't know what kind of cheese I have yet. We're gonna raid the fridge. I hopefully have some sort of mozzarella and Parmesan, but we will make do with whatever we have. And if you are lactose intolerant or just don't like cheese, you could absolutely do this without the cheese. The neat thing with canning pantry cooking is that almost everything is already cooked, so we get to basically make a tiny mess instead of a huge mess of cooking everything and get it thrown together. The only thing we need to cook ahead of time here is our pasta. So we're gonna boil our pound of pasta here and cook it to al dente, so not quite all the way, but almost, because it'll finish cooking in the oven. And then we're gonna throw everything else in with it and put it in the oven to cook until bubbly. Okay, let's get a pot ready to start this pasta. Again, we're just gonna cook it to al dente, and something like a penne or an elbows probably makes more sense, but I don't have any, so linguine it is. Once the water's boiling, we're gonna go ahead and break these in half just to make it easier to mix up later, and we'll get them boiled. I'm using a whole wheat pasta today. You could use just regular pasta if you wanted to. And let's get our veggies all ready. So we're gonna open and drain 1 can of diced tomatoes, 1 can of chicken, and we have some diced onions and some spaghetti sauce. Again, we drain the onions, and we're also gonna drain this zucchini that we canned from our garden. And there we go. Okay, now to chop the zucchini, this is my very professional technique of just smushing it around with a knife. It's pretty soft in there, so you can just chunk it up that way. I'm gonna butter this baking dish. A 9x13 pan works great, be the perfect size. Drain our pasta, and let's get ready to mix in our other ingredients. We dump in the onions, the chicken, the drained tomatoes, the zucchini that's been cut up, and the pasta sauce. I'm going to give it a little bit of Italian seasoning here to spice it up. The sauce I have isn't my favorite flavoring, which is why I add the Italian seasoning. If you use a sauce that you really like that already has a lot of flavor, you might not need to add that. And then we're gonna dump it in the pan. Pretty simple, right? And then we spread it around, and I'm just gonna mix it a little better when I add some cheese in there. That's just like a provolone and mozzarella. And I also use a little bit of cheddar jack because I did not have enough of the mozzarella, so just kind of use what you have on hand. And then I put just a little more cheese on top. Probably used about 2 cups of cheese in all. Both of those bags had already been opened and started before I started this project. I'm gonna put it in the oven on 350 until bubbly, so 20 to 30 minutes. Meanwhile, let's start our bread. I found I had some Texas toast in there, so that was an awesome surprise. Much more exciting than just some plain frozen French bread. So we'll get that set out on the pans. Sometimes I do make fresh bread. You guys have seen that a lot with my bread maker, but like I said, tonight I wasn't planning on feeding a big meal, but I am now, so it's great to have this kind of stuff always on hand in your freezer pantry when there just isn't time to make homemade. We'll set that aside and put it in the oven right about the time the pasta comes out. And while we're still waiting for the pasta to cook, we're gonna throw together the mixed salad, and I'm just gonna kind of empty out what's in the fridge. I hate letting vegetables go to waste, so making a mixed salad is a great way to use everything up. I had cucumbers in there and this half-used tomato. We're just gonna add it right to this half-eaten bunch of spinach from the store, and it'll be ready to go. I also found these in the freezer, and I thought, well, why not? Because that sounded really good to my pregnant belly. There are definitely not enough of these for our whole family, so these will be a mommy and daddy treat, and maybe some for 1 or 2 of the kids if we can sneak them on somebody's plate without everybody else noticing. We'll see. Probably just mommy and daddy. All right, the pasta's done, so we're gonna serve it up. I kind of dice up pats so it's not a choking hazard there with the long noodles. And then we're going to take out the salad and the only dressing my kids think exists, which is the ranch. We get that set out on their plates too. Pat is hungry and he does not want to wait anymore. So let's go ahead and get him his food first. There we go, much easier. I did sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on the girls. If they can't see the Parmesan, it doesn't exist and they'll be upset. So I always put that on the very end so they can see it's on top. Wait, hang on 1 second. Hey, Pat, is it yummy? Cheese! So before I knew that this guy was coming home for dinner, I had promised the kids that if they're really good today, they could use their tablets with dinner. So hence why there's nobody else at the table. But I'm glad you made it home.
Me too.
So there's another easy dinner while you keep a well-stocked canning pantry and freezer pantry. So when somebody decides to unexpectedly show up for dinner, you can get a full meal on the table real quick. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.